Welcome back, Tampa Bay Lightning, and welcome back, Brayden Point, who stole the show in the Bolts' first game post-Olympics. More on today's Locked On Lightning.
You're Locked On Lightning, your daily podcast on the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Happy Thursday and welcome to Locked On Lightning. We are part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network. We want to start with a shout out to our everydayers. Thank you for making us your first listen of the day every single day. Today's show is a fun one because we're talking about a Lightning win. Absolutely no rust whatsoever in a 4-2 win over the Toronto Maple Leafs. And I feel like I owe kind of an apology to Andrei Vasilevskiy for ever doubting him. Plus, we'll look ahead to the one big key to the game for tonight's game against the Carolina Hurricanes. A lot to get to on today's show. I'm your host, Nick Morgan, joined by the Kendall Coin Schofield, to my Hillary Knight, Greg Stephen. And Greg, not just good to see the Lightning back on the ice, but great to see this version of the Lightning back on the ice.
Yeah, great to see this team play an elite game against a good team and continue to bury their divisional opponent, Toronto Maple Leafs. Love it. At home, nonetheless.
At home, push them further down the standings and push us a little bit further up. 4-2 win over the Toronto Maple Leafs last night. It was a game that saw a lot of familiar faces thriving for the Tampa Bay Lightning, including 3 points from both Brayden Point and Nikita Kucherov. More on their performance in a little bit. We saw a good goaltending performance, mostly, I would say, from Andrei Vasilevskiy. A lot to talk about from this game, Greg. Let's start it off by doing something different with our recaps. We're going to start doing something called one word to describe the game. Basically, this is just sort of one word or maybe a phrase. It doesn't have to be one word exactly. In fact, I'm going to break that rule immediately. Just one word or phrase that kind of encapsulate the entire game as a whole, the vibe of the game, maybe a player that stood out. So, Greg, kick us off. What is one word that you would use to describe last night's 4-2 win over the Toronto Maple Leafs?
Okay, I was torn between two of these, but I'm gonna lock in with shooting gallery.
Love it. Okay.
80 shots in this game. 70 shots in this game. Sorry. But yeah, whatever. This whole first period was just like so back and forth, so many shots on goal, so many opportunities. It was just crazy to watch. Actually, it was really a fun, exciting game to watch, honestly. Just so many shots on goal, and I just loved it. I felt very, despite it being only like 3-0, I think most of the game, it still felt like there was just so many shots on goal. I loved it. It was so exciting.
Yeah, combined 34 alone in the second period between these two teams. And it was really fun, Greg, because sadly we missed the over-under. We both hit the over. But I will say it looked like that same sort of vibe that we described. We thought this was going to be a really fast back and forth game. We thought this was going to be a case where these two, hot offenses were going to jump in and immediately make their impact known. And, we both predicted that. Were you, at the end of the day, maybe surprised by just how fast everybody looked, considering so many players from both teams, just played the past 2 weeks of action?
Yeah, I mean, I was impressed by Point and Kucherov, man. Like, they didn't look like they had stopped playing at all.
Yeah, absolutely. And more on their performance in a little bit. But, Greg, I want to get to my one word.
Yeah.
My one word, it's also 2 words. But my one word is Thanksgiving Eve.
Okay.
You know how when you're an adult, you move away from home. Maybe you're in a different city. Maybe all your friends are in a different city. But you always come home for Thanksgiving. And the night before Thanksgiving Eve, that's the night you and your friends turn up. You haven't seen these guys in a year. You maybe have barely even talked with them a lot over the past year. When you sit down and those drinks start flowing, it's just like old times. It's like you never left. You can pick right back up where you left off and have some great chemistry and great conversations with all your buzz. And you start to wonder whether you really left at all. And that was this game to me, Greg. The Lightning went away to tour the world on this Olympic break. But once they came back, once they hit the ice, I didn't see any signs of the Lightning playing any different than what they had before these breaks started. I thought there was great chemistry throughout this game, really crisp play, not a lot of noticeable mistakes. And I'm wondering, Greg, you and I talked about how much would this, these different factors of the Olympic break, the team not skating together, some players having a lot of rest, some players going to Europe and playing for 2.5 weeks. We wonder how that would impact the chemistry. It didn't look like it impacted it at all last night for the Tampa Bay Lightning.
No, it really did not. And you know what? I also want to call out the fact that I kind of reverse jinxed Gage Goncalves too.
Yes, thank
Also,
you.
Also put up 3 points after I said, we were really high on him on our prediction review episode. And, he wasn't quite there, but he was still solid. And then he just comes right in and notches 3 points. So big night for Gage, man. He looked really good out there.
Yeah, big night for Gage. We're going to talk about him a little bit more in a second, but I want to talk about the star of the game to me, Greg, and that was Brayden Point. That was the other big storyline of this game. This was Brayden Point's big return to the lineup. Hasn't played since January 12th, and we wondered how his play would look coming back from injury. As you mentioned, 2 goals, 1 assist, 3 points back. Looked great with Kuch. I love how he scored the first goal of the night. Even though Kucherov had one that probably should have counted. He looked great. And it's great to see Point back and immediately start reestablishing that chemistry with Kuch.
Yeah, and just like we kind of talked about, those two have been doing this a long time. And to see him just bounce back from injury and both of them not really skate at all over the last few weeks and then just return to this duo that is just unstoppable. I just love to see it, man. And it's so encouraging for the rest of the season, because if they can do this coming out of a rest period and an injury, imagine if they just keep it up and keep grinding and they get into a groove again. Oof, this team is dangerous when these two are on.
Yeah, and you're going to have to, because you have a big game tonight against the Carolina Hurricanes, and we're going to have a review of that coming up a little bit later on the show. But a lot more to get to from this game. We'll talk about Andrei Vasilevsky's performance. We'll dive more into Gage Goncalves. And Greg, I want to ask you about the lineup, because we had some more returns last night that may impacted the lineup that the Lightning coaches went with. More on that coming up in just a second when we come back on Locked on Lightning. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. If you ever wanted to experience the NBA Finals live and in person, listen to this. FanDuel is giving you the chance to turn your NBA Finals dream into a reality with their NBA sweepstakes. So here's how it works. You pull up FanDuel, you use your profit boost on any NBA future, and you'll automatically be entered for a shot to win an NBA Finals trip for 2. We're talking flights. We're talking tickets, the whole shebang. And if you're already looking at the board and thinking about which team can make a deep run, this is the perfect time to lock in with this sweepstakes. Whether you're picking a team to win the championship or just grabbing a conference title, all these games down the stretch are going to add a little bit extra layer of excitement. And now, not only can you win cash for your picks, but it can also send you to the finals. So here's what you do. You go to FanDuel.com to get started. Use your profit boost on an NBA future and get entered for your chance to win a trip to the NBA Finals. Again, that is FanDuel.com, or download the FanDuel app straight to your phone. Play your game with FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA. Back on Locked on Lightning, Nick Morgan here alongside Greg Stephen, and we have hockey to talk about, but we also have the trade deadline right on the horizon. And right now, if you join our Everydayer Club for ad-free audio, access to our group chat on Discord, and more, you can use code DEADLINE ahead of the trade deadline for 1 month free. All you have to do is go to lockedonpodcast.com or hit the link below in our show notes to get started. We'd love to chat with you on our Everydayer Club. All right, Greg, let's talk more about the Lightning's big return to the ice last night, a 4-2 win over the Toronto Maple Leafs. One guy you called out before the break, Gage Goncalves. 1 goal, 2 assists, and maybe had the most entertaining goal of the night. Breakaway, a deke so bad, Greg, that it started a fight after the goal.
Yeah, I don't know what the heck Oliver Ekman-Larsson is doing there after that goal. What do you
He
put your
forgot
team?
he's not on the Panthers anymore.
Yeah, just weird, man. I thought that was such a strange behavior by him. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked, but yeah, beautiful play by Gage. How about the pass by Kucherov to split the D there, though, to set that up for Gage? Unbelievable. I mean, his vision is crazy. I don't know if anyone was watching the TNT broadcast, but he put the glasses on. He said that Kuch is a gecko. He can see multiple places at one time because his eyes just kind of look everywhere. And it was just so funny because it's true. I mean, Kuch is looking left and he's skating in the neutral zone. And he just sends that, splits the D, and then Gage with the beautiful move to finish it.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't know what the Oliver Ekman-Larsson was mad about, considering his own teammate shoved Goncalves into the net. He also didn't hit Stellars at all. So I don't know if it was
totally baited him. Yeah.
I just don't know if it was the fact that Goncalves had, the other defender's stick or what, but just be lucky that was the Lightning top line and not, Dominic James or somebody else who would just go up and land a 2-head shot in the back of Ekman-Larsson. Yeah, Greg, the other thing I wanted to ask you, because we already had some big returns last night to the lineup as well. We saw the return of Charles-Edouard Dastou. He's been out since January. 2 assists last night in his return. And I'm sorry, Greg, shield your ears. Emil Lilberg sighting. First game back since early December. Only had 9 minutes of ice time, but he was a +3. Greg, what did you think of the lineup that the Lightning rolled out last night? Going 11 forward, 7D. Is this something that you feel like they might stick with, or is this a chance just to get some returning guys back in the lineup together?
It's a great question. I feel like they definitely wanted to let Hedman and Lilleberg skate a little bit here and just kind of get them back on the ice. So while I think it's not unreasonable to run this lineup regularly, I do think it was more to just get everyone on the ice. I mean, even Sabrin skated. He only skated, 5.5 minutes, I think, something like that.
Yeah.
And Dominic James only skated 10 minutes, which I thought was pretty interesting. But yeah, overall, I think this was let's get everyone to touch the ice for a bit here and go from there. So that's how I view this. And, I thought everyone really played well. I mean, there wasn't a guy out there last night that I felt didn't do his part. And I think my biggest negative for this game is that it just wasn't a complete 60 minutes. And, they were dominant throughout this game. The Leafs had many opportunities, but Vasi was shutting the door. But at the end of this game, five-ish minutes left, it became a little suspect. I mean, they cough up 1 goal. They go back and score another. Jake Guentzel hits a post on an empty net, wide open net.
Yeah.
And it comes back for a Leafs goal. Vasi lets in a really, really questionable soft goal from Matthew Nyes. I think this team played extremely well until those last 5 minutes, and they got to lock in. So as far as the lineup goes, I think it's fine. I think this team played well, but they got to just play the complete game. I mean, when there's 5 minutes left, just stick with your game. Let's not get lazy anymore.
Yeah, and I did think one of the biggest, most important moments of the game was that second Brayden point goal that made it 4-1, because it was just 11 minutes after the John Tavares had scored to make it 3-1. And I'm with you. You could kind of feel momentum starting to turn at that point. You could kind of feel, Maple Leafs really pressing, really attacking. And I do think that point goal kind of settled things down a little bit. It's obviously you want to see them play a complete 60 minutes. And I feel bad for Vasi because, I agree that last goal was a little bit soft, but I also, need to apologize to him because I questioned Well, I didn't question. I just said it's harder for goalies to come back out of a long break, long rest, and still be as sharp as before. And he shut me up pretty well.
Yeah.
I will say that. It sucks that he couldn't, have a shutout, because I think he really did make a lot of really good saves, especially in the first two periods.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, this is, I think it's, you'd give him a 95 on the exam. Like,
Right.
still not necessarily aced it, but I would say you saw everything you wanted to see, and you like the decision coming out of it.
Yeah, and you know what? You got a lot of guys touching the score sheet in this game, right? Like you said it. Dastu had 2 points. Goncalves came back with 3. Point and Cooch both 3 with big games. I mean, it's good to see. Even Holmberg hit it, right? So, it's good to see the depth kind of come in a little bit. And I mean, obviously the superstars jiving is huge.
Yeah.
Only thing we didn't really see in this game is defensive offense. We didn't see a ton of that, and not that I'm
2 points.
Yeah, but I just mean, like, where's Radish? He didn't kind of return to where he was immediately, which is fine. It's not a big deal, but I don't think he was as noticeable in this one. Hedman obviously didn't skate a ton of time, which I'm happy about because I'd rather him not get re-injured. McDonough didn't have his best game. He was -1. He took a weird penalty at one point as well. But outside of those things, yeah, I'm with you. I think it's you get like a 92 to 95 on the exam.
Yeah, it is interesting how sort of the time on ice played out. Like, Hedman not getting a lot of minutes. Meanwhile, you look up front and it was kind of like a wild distribution. Brayden Point had 22 minutes.
Right.
Kucherov had almost 24. Gensel had 22 and a half. Hagel had over 20. You're used to maybe seeing guys maybe just touch 20 in the forward position. But it was interesting that it seemed like Tampa Bay were really relying on their big guns up front, while also maybe spreading some ice time out amongst the defenders. In terms of the lineup, it sounds like we're going to get Anthony Cirelli back possibly by Saturday, not tonight. But obviously once he's back, I think that may cause, the Tampa coaches, and the other thing we got to, acknowledge too, is that John Cooper did not coach in this game. He's not coaching tonight. He lost his father this week. So our thoughts are with him. We have, Rob Zettler and Jeff Halpern kind of taking over coaching duties until Coop is back, whenever that may be. So, whoever is in charge of the bench, I do think that maybe you're looking ahead to this Saturday and you're kind of going to maybe have more of your standard, this is what we're going to roll with from week to week lineup. Because, once Cirelli comes back, I think that, you could still go 11-7, but I also think, you may use this opportunity to kind of want to get some consistency amongst these lines.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think you want to develop like a set-ish roster, with these last 30 games and figure out where to go with everyone. But yeah, I also want to just say, best to John Cooper. I mean, that's obviously a tough situation to deal with, and thoughts and prayers with him because, it's a tough life thing, and life is more important than hockey.
Yeah, absolutely. New game tonight. The Tampa Bay Lightning go on the road to take on the Carolina Hurricanes. Can they make it 2 in a row after the Olympic break and extend their streak to 21-1-1 over the last couple of months? We'll have a key to the game coming back on Locked on Lightning. Today's episode is brought to you by Indeed. Are you in the middle of workplace chaos right now? Deadlines stacking up, inbox overflowing, and there's one position you still have to work to fill? Right now might not be the best time to sit down and interview a bunch of candidates, but when the pressure's on and you need the right hire, this is where Indeed Sponsored Jobs can step in. Indeed Sponsored Jobs helps you reach the people who actually fit what you're looking for, their skills, experience, their location, so you're not just hoping the right candidate happens to stumble across your post. Here's a stat that says it all. In the minute that I've been talking to you, companies like yours made 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. So if you're hiring, spend less time searching and more time interviewing quality candidates who check all your boxes with Indeed sponsored jobs. Here's another little boost. Listeners of Locked on Lightning get a $75 sponsored job credit to help get your job the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. Again, just go to Indeed.com/podcast right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on Locked on Lightning. Again, that's Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. If you need to hire, you need Indeed sponsored jobs. We're back on Locked on Lightning. Nick Morgan here alongside Greg Stephen. And Greg, if one game to return to action after the Olympic break was just not enough, good news because we have another one in store for you tonight. Tampa Bay Lightning go up the road to take on the Carolina Hurricanes in Raleigh, North Carolina tonight. It's the team leading the Metro versus the team leading the Atlantic, the old Southeast Division in the NHL. Would be proud to see these two teams going at it where they are. Greg, and I also have to say, breaking down the stats here, we still think the Tampa Bay Lightning are maybe the class of the East at this point in terms of roster, in terms of their productions. I would say the Carolina Hurricanes maybe the one team right now that you would look at and say evenly matched against the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Yeah, I can absolutely agree with that. And this is not going to be an easy game, especially on a back-to-back and on the road. So this is a good test for the Bolts, and I'm excited to see what they do against a team that I would consider to be one of the Cup contenders, to be honest with you. Yeah. I think the Canes are one of the biggest threats in the East. So, yeah, I love this test. I love that it's right after this break. It's like a true test, So excited to see how the Lightning handle this one.
Yeah. I'm just going to throw out my key to the game for this one, and it kind of ties into the theme of this being a back-to-back. My key to the game is actually going to be the play of Jonas Johansson tonight. Assuming he plays, I would be shocked if he doesn't because Vazzy got to start last night. But look, the Canes are likely going to be riding with Brandon Bosse in net. He's been one of the best. Where did that guy come from? Stories here. He's given the Canes some great goaltending. And look, JoJo on the other end, he's going to have his hands full because this is a Canes team that can score. And more importantly, they have a lot of depth up front. How well Johansson does tonight, Greg, to me, that can sway this game.
Yeah, for sure. I'm totally with you. And I do expect him to be the goaltender tonight. And you know what? He has it in him. He does. And we've talked about this. He's actually a very strong goalie. I think he'll be fine. And I think the Lightning do need to play strong defense in front of him. That's what they owe him. And as long as they do that, I think they can get this win. But if we're going to keys to the game, here's my key for you. And it's something I already said. It's play the full 60 minutes. Because if you don't, this team is going to beat you.
Amen.
And look, like the Lightning after last night, they climbed. They goals for and goals against, second in the league, both. Unbelievable for the Lightning. But the Canes are sixth in both of those categories. So nothing to scoff at there. They're gonna be tight defensively, and they're very, very high pressure team. So got to be smart with the puck in your own zone, and got to be smart in front of JoJo.
Yeah, you can't have a lot of mistakes in this game because the Hurricanes are good enough that they can jump right on it. And look, they played mistake-free for the most part last night, but now you kind of have to do it on short rest. With on the road with a really good team breathing down your neck. This to me is going to be maybe a little bit of a harder test than last night.
Absolutely. I completely agree.
All right, Greg. Over under.
Oh no.
According to our friends at FanDuel, 6.5.
Yeah, I'm going under tonight. I just think both these teams are very strong defensively, and after seeing last night the Bolts, return to form so fast, I think, I'm going under.
Oh, see, part of me just wants to.
You want to hedge?
Part of me wants to hedge, so we have something positive to talk about. But I don't know, Greg. I agree with you. Like, okay. I think that these are two very staunchly defensive teams. I think they've gotten some pretty good goaltending this season. I'm also curious to see this is the Hurricanes' first game back, I believe. From the Olympic break, unless I completely missed them playing last night?
No, you're right.
They didn't. So this is their first game back from the break. I'm kind of curious to see, the Lightning playing on short rest versus them playing on 3 weeks rest.
Yeah, should be interesting.
Interested in that regard too. But yeah, I'm going to go the under on it.
Me too. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's go all in, buddy.
Look, if that Kucherov goal counted, we hit the over.
Yeah, yeah. We'll Thelma and Louise this. Holding hands, drifting into the canyon. I don't know.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that movie in years. Greg, give me an anytime goal scorer for tonight. Who do you think is going to find the twine?
I think it's Dominic James again. I'm just sticking with him, dude. I know I picked him yesterday, and he didn't really skate a ton, but I'm feeling Dominic James. Give it to me.
Yeah. It's funny. You just mentioned we didn't have a lot of offense from the defense last night. So I'm going to go Darren Radish on this one. I think still him on the power play, that big shot, I still think that's extremely dangerous. I don't know. I'm feeling kind of maybe a Darren Radish night tonight.
Okay, I'm here for it.
There we go. Okay.
Would love to see him return to full form, if he can get back on that killer streak that he was on. That'd be so nice to see.
Yeah, I thought played pretty well last night.
Yeah, for sure.
Just didn't find the score sheet. Radish is plus 460, according to our friends at FanDuel. Dominic James plus 725. So if you guys are riding with us, a chance to actually earn some pretty good cash if you're playing on FanDuel for tonight's game. Again, the Tampa Bay Lightning take on the Carolina Hurricanes tonight in the great state of North Carolina. 7:00 puck drop. We'll be back tomorrow on Locked on Lightning for a full recap for you. In the meantime, be sure to hit that subscribe button, whether you're listening on Spotify, Apple, your favorite podcast platform, or watching us on YouTube. Hitting subscribe always helps you guys know when we have new content out for you. And it also helps us out with our numbers as well. So win-win for everybody. You can also keep tabs on our social media, Locked on Lightning, Instagram, TikTok, pretty much anywhere you scroll. Be sure to find us there. That's going to do it for us on today's Locked on Lightning. Thanks for making us your first listen of the day. Back with a new episode tomorrow. We will see you then.